Hello everyone and welcome back to Emily's Writing Club. As you can see, things have changed. I am now in my new room. You probably saw the room tour last week. This is going to be the setup for the next episodes. So it's not going to be the final setup because I kind of improvise this for the moment. Of course, for people who only listen on Spotify, you probably don't care because you don't see me. But we're here for a new episode and a very special one because we're going to talk about the new habits I want to place into my life in order to finish my book. For those who don't know, this podcast was created last year. The main reason of this podcast was because I'm writing a book and I wanted to talk about the struggles that I was facing and hoping that it would help people out there and that those people would want me to talk about some subjects or things they're struggling with so that we can all talk about it together. And I realized that through this year of creating this podcast, I completely forgot to write my book. I made research on things that I was struggling with, but my book was set aside so much and I didn't forget about it, of course, but I felt like I was more focused on my podcast than really writing this book. So I decided to make a full episode on all the habits that I decided to put in place through this year as an au pair, hopefully to finish this book. So let's get into it. I have my little iPad with me with all my notes. We can look at this together. By the way, if you see me with this big scarf and everything, it is because I am filming this during the storm. For those who don't know, there was a storm and I don't have any more electricity in my house. And I am on my own. I'm alone because the family went on a cruise and I have no electricity. So we tried to figure things out. A whole tree fell on the cable. I'm here trying to survive on my own. And it's really cold here because there's no more electricity. Don't worry. I have somewhere to sleep. I have things to eat. Everything is fine. It's just that if I want to film a video, it's here and it's cold. Reason why I'm in this attire right now. But if we focus back on writing this book, I'm really happy about one thing is that my host family is a really creative one and they try to avoid screens. And I know that it has been something that I've been struggling with throughout the year with TikTok and Instagram. I tend to scroll a lot on those. And the issue with that is that I am fed a lot of media and it tends to make it hard for me to create after. So I'm really happy that I'm with this family for many other reasons. Of course, everything is going so well. If you want more information about me being an au pair, don't hesitate to go on my Instagram and TikTok. I post some videos about it already. But they really want to put more creative sides to their children and avoid screens, which is what I need. So I'm really happy because it's kind of something that I'll be able to put into and I'll be able to write my book with the kids without having to be only on my screens, only on my TikTok and stuff. So I think, as we talked about it in the very first episode, the environment in which you write is so important. And I think this environment could be the right for me. And above that, right now I am watching this 1 hour and 20-minute video on all the secrets about arcane writing and I'm having so much fun, guys. You have no idea. There are so many information that I love. I am actually starting to take notes. I should definitely show you because those notes are beautiful. Sorry for the auditors who cannot see, but so I took notes of this video and I don't know if you can see, but I made little pages like this with all the notes that I found about this. It's this video of, I think it's Schnee. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. I'm so sorry if I'm not. But this guy is making really good videos about arcane and about writing in general, I think. I don't know him that much, but many of you recommended it to me after a TikTok that I made. And thank you everyone who recommended me this because his videos are really cool. And it helps me a lot for my writing. So these are the 2 points that really motivates me to finish this book this year. Plus, I'm reading so much more these days, and the family is really happy that I read so much because it shows a good example for the kids. So it makes me want to read even more. So it's just like this big circle of a lot of reading, a lot of writing, and I hope that I can finish this book. You know what? No, I will finish this book this year. Let's manifest it. Okay, let's focus now on the habits that I want to put into place in order to write more. The first thing I think is I want to set a goal because it gives you a direction of where you're supposed to go. The only thing is, with me, the issue that I had throughout all those years is that setting goals like a number of words that I'm supposed to write per day does not work for me. I don't know why, it never did. I feel like it never worked for me, all this counting and all those word counts and stuff, because sometimes I will be stuck on a scene and I won't be able to write because I don't know where to go after that. So I decided to set myself another goal that I wanted to share with you. This goal is I want to be able to create one scene with my characters every podcast episode, because right now, even though I've been absent for a little bit because I was moving into Atlanta, so it was really a big change. I couldn't really prepare all those episodes, and it was really hard for me to prepare them in advance. But this podcast is something that has been very regular lately, and I'm really proud of myself for that, for creating this habit of making these podcast episodes. So I felt like the best thing was, in order to make writing my book a habit, I should implement it with something that I already have, which is those podcast episodes. So what I want is to make sure that every time I record a podcast episode, I wrote already a new scene with one of my characters. And it doesn't have to be a scene that I'm going to use in my book, because that's not the reason behind why I want to write those scenes. I want to write those scenes in order to know my characters better and make them feel human. Because when I read, that is what I love. When I can relate to those characters, when they make sense, which is actually one of the notes I took from the Arkin video. So I really hope all those advice can help me to really make my characters more human and relatable. It's just this objective of writing at least one scene every 2 weeks with my characters. Of course, I'm not going to go very fast with this, but I feel like just starting is what I need in order to write. So if I start writing those scenes, I think that I can write more. So of course, I will not finish my book if I just write one scene every 2 weeks, but it is still a start, and I think it can launch me into writing, because sometimes I don't have the energy to write, or I don't think about it, and just having this objective every week can put writing into my usual habits and keep it in a corner of my head that is mostly active, so that I think of writing more often. Second point, and a sort of habit that I want to put into, a new thing that came into my life is a laptop, with which actually I am recording with my microphone. Anyway, the issue with my previous one was that it was broken and I couldn't take it anywhere else. And one thing that I love is to romanticize writing. And what better way to romanticize writing than going to a cafe to write? So this is one of the habits that I want to put in place. I want to write at a cafe at least once a month, especially because since I arrived in Atlanta, I keep going to cafes all the time, and I want to use this time efficiently to either do my drawings for my art account, or write my book, or edit my YouTube videos. But I think through all these times where I go to cafes, I definitely have time for writing, and I want to put this habit into place. A third habit that I want to put in place, it's not really a habit, it's like a rule that I want to put for myself, is no rewrite until it's done. There's this sentence from Leigh Bardugo that I absolutely love, and I'm pretty sure I already talked about it in the podcast. It doesn't have to be good, it has to be done. And I know myself, if I go into the details, I will never go through the entire book, and it will be done so fast. I can forget about the book if I go into the details right now, because I will see every problem and I will not move on. I just need to have a big block on which to work on afterwards. I cannot just have like very specific and good written scenes. That is not going to work for me, and I know it. And it's an advice that a lot of writers give, so I should definitely take this advice into account for this year. And as I talked a little bit before, I restarted my art account. A new habit that I decided to put into place just for my art account is I want to post one art per week at least. And I do this because I want to draw more. And on this same line, what I want to do is draw my original characters, draw the characters from my book more often, in order to still have my book in my head very regularly. I know that I scheduled already a lot of videos about drawing on my main and art account. I try to collaborate them on Instagram. On TikTok, it's just on my main account. But I think that drawing my characters more can be a way for me to also bring them to life, you know? And it's kind of like writing those scenes. It's not going to take me to the end of the book, but it will put my book in a corner of my head that is active enough and regularly used enough to make me think about writing more often and then write more often. That's what at least I hope to do. And I don't know yet if I'm gonna do it, but I would like to ask the kids' point of view on my characters, because I remember writing this essay that I actually should get back at some point because it was a really good essay. I remember I had a 20 out of 20, 100 points. And there were so many things that I found in my research that were so interesting. So I'm definitely drawing this paper back one day so that I can give you some of the advice that I found. But there's this author, I forgot her name. I'm not sure it's her, but I feel like it's the author of emelinethewitch. I hope I'm pronouncing this right too. I'm so sorry if I'm not. Let me check. Because this author talked about the fact that when she was lost and she couldn't find something, she asked her daughter, because kids always have a lot of imagination and they're going to be like, oh, this could happen next. And then she's like, oh yeah, this could happen next. And then it just unlocks another part of her creativity. Okay, I don't have internet because no electricity, so I cannot remember her name. I think it was Okomafor. I am not 100% sure, and I am so sorry if I am not pronouncing it right. I think being an au pair can also be a way for me to unlock this part of the book that needs a little bit of child creativity that I might be missing sometimes. So, it can be a good idea too. We'll see. But it really motivates me to do much more for this year and for this book and to finally see it come out. And you know what? It is our time to work on those books that we want to write, all of us. And hopefully to become the favorite author of someone. Who knows? That's what motivates me. Maybe one day I'll be someone's favorite author and someone is going to like my stories, because that's what I want to do. I want to make people travel and have fun and dream. So, you know what? We're on our way, maybe. I have to keep the objective in mind. First advice. First habit I want to put into the having a goal. Here it is. My goal is to be someone's favorite author. And I hope it's yours too. All right? Set a goal. Dream about it. Be ambitious. Who cares? It's in your head. You can be ambitious in your head. You don't have to tell anyone else. What matters is that you're motivated to do what you want to do. And I hope you're going to find the strength to do so. Sometimes you don't feel like writing. It's okay. Don't push yourself at a level where you feel bad and it's not good for your mental health. Though it's still good to push ourselves sometimes because we don't want to write, but we do love writing. If you're listening to this podcast until the end, you probably do love writing. So if you do love writing, then... Or maybe you're just my grandmother because she loves watching my videos all the way through, even though she doesn't get any word of English. But if you love writing, then I'm pretty sure that sometimes you do procrastinate. But once you're into it, you have a lot of fun. So let's focus on the fun. And it will not always be fun. I don't remember if we talked about this in one of the episodes, but I feel like we did. So yeah. I hope you enjoyed this episode and that it motivated you. It gave you a little bit of ideas of what to do for this year. I hope the microphone didn't pop too much because I don't have my anti-pop thing that I used to have before. I couldn't take it in my suitcase. It was too heavy. I know, really sad. It's okay. But yeah, this is the end of the podcast episode. I hope you enjoyed it. I will try to probably work on the background for next week. Thank you so much for staying until the end, and I will see you next week. I still don't know what the video of next week is going to be about, but you know what? It's okay. We're going to improvise, and improvising is fun sometimes. Until then, take care of yourself, be kind to yourself, and I will see you online.